I am back with another long format video. This video is going to be about the Rohloff hub in case you want it on the bike you already have, or if you are looking to get a new bike. And the bikes I'm looking at today are going to be the main upright bikes I have been endorsing on this channel. This would be the Birdy, the Brompton, and the Moulton. I might say a few words about other bikes, but these are the main three classic bikes that you want to have if you don't already have them. Now, before I start, check out my new book. It's about my story, all the details of how I built my super fast Brompton Interceptor. If you understand the basics which are in this book, I can't see how you would not be able to build your dream machine, even if you're not using a Brompton or a Moulton or whatever as the starting point. You could electrify practically any bike out there with the knowledge that is in this book. So I'm providing a link below, and I have also a link for my shopping page, and I usually provide links to all of the videos and details mentioned in the current video, and so make sure to check that out. All references are included right below. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Birdy Rohloff. This is probably the easiest way to get a Rohloff touring setup. Rohloff is the best of the hub gears, and it is a German handmade product. It's actually hand built in Germany, and the Birdy is a German designed, German engineered bike, even though it's built largely in Taiwan. If you are in Europe, there is a final assembly done in Germany, but the parts are made in Taiwan. If you are anywhere in Asia or in North America, the same situation applies. They ship everything directly into the US from Taiwan. The thing about the European market is that, unlike the US, the EU government is making sure that at least some of the EU jobs are protected from foreign imports. So they have been requiring companies, including Riese and Müller, to build stuff. So they just buy the parts, they ship them in from Taiwan, and then they put them together in Germany. Whereas in North America, we don't care about jobs, and we just buy everything from abroad. So this is the Rohloff hub. You can see how compact it is. It doesn't need much of a tensioner. It has a very short tensioner, quite a big cog setup over here. I think 14 is the minimum, so you're not going to go down to 10 and 9, those kind of extremely small arrangements for high speeds. But the width of the Rohloff hub is going to take care of it, because on full-sized bikes people can pedal as fast as 55 miles an hour. Now on a smaller bike, small wheel bike, you're not going to get that. You're going to pedal with maybe 35-40 miles an hour, which should be enough for most people. But if you look closely, if you look at the chain wheel, this guy, there is still space there. So if you look here, you could install a bigger chain wheel if you want an even higher speed. If you do want to pedal at maybe 45-50 miles an hour, you could probably just upgrade the chain wheel. Although most people are not going to do this, because most people buy the Rohloff primarily for touring. Touring as in being outside all day long, doing a day trip, a weekend trip, maybe even a week or several weeks, with a trailer or some kind of luggage applied to the bike. Now, one thing I wanted to point out is that this is absolutely brilliant engineering. This is what we are expecting from a German engineered top-end product. The cables are not pulling or moving or adjusting any of the cogs inside the hub. What they do is they turn a switch. The switch is hidden in here, and this switch in turn is pulling the cogs. By doing this kind of arrangement, they add enormous torque to the cable, and because of this, these cables probably won't need to be replaced for a decade or several decades, or maybe last for a lifetime. So the whole thing is incredibly sturdy and bomb-proof even including the tape, the cables. But like you expect from a typical German engineered product, it's also very complex. It's not necessarily easier install, but it does install in most any standard with rear dropout or triangle. So the Birdy is the easiest way to get it, because you get it all in one piece and you get a beautiful assembly. It looks very nice. It does not fold as compact as a Brompton, but for a compact touring bike, you can easily fit it into any car, even a smart car, Mini Cooper, any kind of Fiat 500, any kind of tiny car. It's really a very small package, so it's going to fit anywhere. Same thing with trains, public transportation. It doesn't really roll as in the same way as the Brompton. Actually, it does roll pretty well. There's a way of rolling it on the main wheel, and I think there are some training wheel options that you can buy in addition to that. So you can roll it. It's just a different logic. It rolls differently from the Brompton. They include the handlebar attachment as well, which is really nice. So you need to add only the cables if you're buying the Rohloff by yourself. But the whole idea of getting the Birdy Rohloff is that you get the whole package out of the box. So this is probably the most desirable way of getting a Rohloff. If you don't have a bike, if you're looking to buy one, then this is probably the one you want to go with, unless you have a bike you want to customize, or you have specific needs and specific goals. So what if you get this one? Or was it Singapore dollar? Wait a minute. Yeah, the Singapore dollar. So I converted Singapore dollar into US, $4,100. Shipping into the US and paying tariff is probably going to take it more like to the mid 4K, like $4,700. Is that a lot of money? Given how much money people are spending on their titanium Bromptons, I'm actually surprised at how cheap it is. Because this is a gorgeous bike that's going to last for the rest of your life. I would only replace this elastomer because these are so weak. I wonder why Riese und Müller is even shipping this garbage. Same thing with the Brompton. The first thing to replace is the suspension. These plastic elastomer things are just so cheaply made. So $4,700 for the whole kit, brand new. I think it's totally worth it. The next one I'm going to cover is the Brompton. The Brompton is a bike that many people already know. They have probably the best brand awareness in the world. So what's going to happen is a lot of the cases, especially if you're following this channel, you already have a Brompton and you don't want to sell it off. And it's not easy to sell them off because the government is now cracking down on eBay sales. The last item I sold on eBay was triple taxed. I bought this camera brand new, I paid taxes on it, then I sell it on eBay and I had to pay for a sales tax on a used item that was sold at a loss, and the buyer in California was required to pay a third sales tax getting a used worn item at a loss. I mean, it's just out of control. You can still sell a used frame. You can get on Facebook, Craigslist, and so on. The government is not cracking down yet, but it's not easy. You may not get a lot of money depending upon the condition of the frame. You may get $500-600 for a Brompton frame. So for a lot of people, it's just easier to convert what you already have. Not to mention that there are people who love the compactness of the fold. They may have a small desk at work and so on. They like the way you can carry it. Now the Rohloff hub the Rohloff hub weighs 4 pounds, so it's not gonna be an easy carry. You want to wheel this thing. Check this out. 4 pounds. So going back to the Brompton, the easiest way to do it is just to go to Kinetics and check the links below, because I'm going to include a link. Kinetics makes all kinds of stuff for the Brompton. They have been around for a very long time. They are trustworthy and reliable, and they make a triangle that is of standard width. The Brompton's triangle is narrower than standard, so that nothing fits except what Brompton approves, and that is the Sturmey Archer hub and the various derailleurs that you can attach outside as well. Notice that this Kinetics bike also has disc brakes, which can be hydraulic, and ideally you want them to be hydraulic. Now for triangles, they make two kind of triangles, and the one I absolutely love is the one that includes the rear carrier. That's just so much sturdier than buying a carrier and attaching it to the bike. So this is the triangle close up, and they ship it with the Rohloff already installed in the triangle. In fact, you can get a disc brake already installed as well. All you need to do is connect the cable to the Brompton. Everything is for Brompton sizing. They already know the frame that you are working with, and that is one of the reasons why the Brompton is so popular, because everybody knows what the measurements are. These shops like Kinetics, they already know what you're doing, so they can serve you really well. You can ship the frame out there and they install it for you, but this is going to be insanely expensive. So unless you live in Britain or somewhere nearby in Northern Europe, it's probably not the best way to go. But this is my favorite rear triangle with the luggage carrier installed, welded on, not bolted on, so it's really sturdy. It's very narrow though. I'm not sure why it's so narrow. So what are we looking at? What is the damage? Rohloff kit, it's made of steel. It's not a titanium upgrade. 1800 British pounds. I actually counted in addition because, okay, 1800 for just you're gonna get the triangle, the carrier built into the triangle. They installed the hub, and I think they also give you a rim. I'm not sure about that, but they might give you a wheel as well. You just need to put on inner tubes and tires. It's going to be a smaller wheel, so no, you're not going to use the original wheel. You're going to have to replace the wheel, and if they include it in the package, that's really nice. Otherwise, it's going to be an extra at least $150 plus new wide tires, like a really nice Schwalbe Apple, Big Apple. It's going to cost you $200, $300 on top of that. But most importantly, you want to get the brakes, and I would go all out. Hydraulic brakes. And this is the disc brake page. I would do the hydraulic. It does not have to be the most expensive, but look, we are up to about 2,300 British pounds. So 2,300, plus you have to get, if you don't get the wheel, if they give you a wheel, even the new tires, new inner tubes, so you are looking at 3,100 US dollars. If you already have the Brompton, this is not a bad alternative to getting a brand new Birdy bike. And if you sell your Brompton, well, if you sell, you're not going to have anything to convert, so you would want to get a new Brompton. And I would give Brompton credit for making basic frames available for a very cheap price. If you want to build this with a brand new frame, then 1,200 is not bad. 1,200 with the 3,100 added, that's going to be a little over $4,000, roughly almost the same price as the Birdy. So you basically can build a Brompton Rohloff with a brand new frame within the same price range of this, of a Birdy, which is quite amazing. So we are looking around 4,500. As far as the installation is concerned, you should only install a Rohloff with a triangle update or upgrade on the steel frame Brompton. Don't try to do it on the titanium. It's not impossible that you could work something out, but you need specialized tools. The entire assembly is totally different. When it comes, I'm going to put a video below for this reference, but when it comes to the Brompton, most of the assembly can be done with the hex key set. If you have a hex key set, you can do most of it. There is a little bit of a custom bit involved. So he's taking out the screw here. But when you put in a new screw, okay, I think it's not a tool. It's just you need a different screw to install the new triangle. So I don't know if that ships with Kinetics or not, but you may need to buy a few pieces. Even then, you are going to be within Birdy Rohloff price range. You're going to be around $4,500 max. And the nice thing is, you now have a totally brand new Brompton Rohloff with a brand new frame that you bought from Brompton. And you even get a hydraulic disc brake in the rear, not in the front. It's not gonna give you hard braking ability. So the Birdy is still gonna give you better brakes because they have hydraulic disc rear and front. Not to mention that the wheels are bigger. You have the incomparable magical front suspension, which is totally different from anything else. So you do get a little bit better with the Birdy, but it's not a bad deal to do it with the Brompton frame. So you can do a lot with the Brompton frame. Now if you don't want to go to Kinetics, to these guys, you have another option. You could go online and get some of the leftover Vostok setup. The Vostok is more attractive and much lighter. It's a titanium front and rear setup made by a Russian craftsman who is no longer active. But it's just the front fork is the one I really like here, because I wish they had a sideways shot, but it's a space frame architecture for a fork. So it's not one titanium bar that's coming down here, but two of them, which is totally unique and looks really cool. I mean, I would love to get the fork just for the fun of it. But typically you have to buy the front fork and the rear disc, which of course introduces another problem, because if you upgrade the front on the Brompton, you don't need to upgrade the front to install the Rohloff or anything. You can just upgrade the triangle from Kinetics. But if you upgrade the front as well, then you're gonna need to pay for hydraulic discs for the front, new tires, new wheel, everything. You're going to be above $5,000. It's going to be more like $5,200, although you are going to get an extraordinary Brompton bike. And a lot of people have built those bikes. So if you search on the internet, you see people with front and rear upgrades with the gravel tire 2 inches wide or even wider than that, which you cannot install with these tight extremities. The triangle and the fork is not going to take a 2 inch wide tire, whereas with the Vostok you might even go to 2.5. Same thing with the Kinetics. And of course in this case you have to buy the speed hub independently and you have to install it yourself. It's not the easiest thing to do. You have the two cables coming in, so a lot of the time I would just prefer to have somebody else do it. If you buy it from Kinetics, at least it's installed into the triangle, so you don't need to worry about that. You only need to connect the cables, and I think there is a metal piece here as well, some stabilizer. In any case, if you are doing the build yourself, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Just like when I built my electrified Brompton, it was a challenge, and I once connected an outlet into an inlet and it was going nowhere, and there was this back and forth with the company grin. I'm sure if you run into difficulties installing this, you could definitely contact Kinetics, and they would probably help you out. Maybe not overnight, but they will send you an email. If you send photos of where you are screwed up, they will help you out. Then that's not the case with the Vostok, because the Vostok is not even active anymore. So as beautiful as it is, as well tried and tested as it is, it's a bit of an adventure to get a Vostok kit. And look at the price. So you're not getting just the triangle, you're getting the fork and the triangle. Now moving on to the top choice, which would be the Moulton. The Moulton bike is the most beautiful and most coveted of all of these bikes, even though it does not come with a hydraulic brake installation. If you want to add that, you're gonna install it yourself, and immediately the starting price is gonna be higher. So it's just a much more expensive bicycle, but it's an absolutely gorgeous bike. With the Brompton, you get a little negligence, like the paint job is not that cool at the bottom of the if you look at the bottom, it's often not very nicely finished. If you look at the Birdy is perfectly finished. The frame is really cool, but it's a very thin paint job. They just put on enough paint to cover everything. Everything is precisely done, but there's nothing extra. Whereas with the Moulton, you have like layers of the finest paint with the finest clear coat, maybe double clear coat. When you see these bikes in real life, especially the upper level Moultons that cost at least $5,000 or more, it's really like a piece of jewelry. The treatment is just like an Aston Martin or some high-end car. When you go to the car show, that's when you see that, my God, these cars are put together in a totally different way from a machine manufactured budget car like a Toyota Camry or something like that. Now, this is not cheap, but not horribly expensive either for what you're getting. You're already getting the big fat tires. You can remove the original derailleur system and sell it and get some money for it. So it's more expensive than either the Birdy or the Brompton route, but it's not a bad deal. I mean, look at this paint job. It's gorgeous stuff. In any case, I found this for you. How about this? A discount Moulton bike. Not my favorite paint job, but look at the price. And he's discounting it for whatever reason. This is just a TSR entry level. Still has very nice suspension, the same very sturdy frame. It's separable in the center. The tires are not what I would keep, and I would definitely upgrade at least the front to a hydraulic V-brake. The nice thing you can do with the Portopedal bike, this company, if you get a Moulton, you might want to contact them, because there is a good chance they would install the Rohloff for you. So if you pay the money, either you ship the hub over there, or they already have the hub. I don't know if they have Rohloff hubs or not. They might want to get it themselves and make some money on that as well. But they do really nice custom installations. So they install whatever group set you want, really, so long that it's obtainable on the market. And even at this low level, a little over $3,000, look at how nice the paint job is. The way it's put together, this suspension, totally one-of-a-kind rubber-based suspension. It's a really nice bike to work on. So for the price, like $3,400, plus the Rohloff, plus if they install it or you suffer and install it, add another $2,000. So it's going to be $5,500. Definitely more than the most basic Birdy or Brompton Rohloff creations that I have described already. But nobody is shopping for a Moulton because they want a discount. This is not a discount bike. You want a discount bike, go to Daehan. I'm serious. And since the Moulton is, I'm just drooling over these frames that they have. Nothing is cheap. None of these installations are cheap. Everything is top of the line. Look at this. So that's why you're paying a price for it. So these are the three options you have. And I wanted to mention this other bike. I don't know if any of them in brand new form are still around, but the TSR Moulton used to come as a belt drive. With belt drive, you're going to have an even larger wheel in the rear, which is going to move your gear inches to the lower ranges, but you get the very clean setup, which I really like. So even if I can't go as fast, I mean, if I can go 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour on a downhill, that's enough for me. But it's just, it's a very clean and neat setup. Apparently the market didn't really want this bike very much. So I don't think this bike is sold anymore at this point. Which is unfortunate, because this was such a cool bike. It requires a special frame. You cannot install a belt drive with a standard frame. You have to have a special frame for that. So you cannot modify an existing TSR. This is the TSR frame. And I would work on something that's already like a big tire, kind of off-roadish touring setup, like these bikes. This would be gorgeous to modify. But then you're gonna go up to what, $8,500. Although Porta-Pedal Bike would probably install it for you. If you keep these bikes in good shape, they always sell also as a used bike. What a gorgeous bike. And this is something we all covet and would like to have. This was made for touring. Look at the size of the luggage. They can carry luggage in the front like the Brompton, but also in the rear in a way that the Brompton is never going to. Already has a massive Schwalbe tire installed. Already has hydraulic disc, although only in the rear, not in the front. The frame would have to be altered for that, so they are just giving it to you for the rear. I mean, it's worth looking at. If you want to do it with a Brompton, you could do it with even a custom paint job, which is more comparable to this, a nicer paint job for an extra 500, and then do the Kinetics upgrade. Okay, this is it for the current video. Check out the links below, and I'll see you.
I'll be back.